Do you know what? Can I tell you a secret? Another secret.
You have to show up for you. Like, if you told them that I was going to grow up to be this person, they wouldn't
have believed it.
How are you not here to witness all the great stuff that's happening?
Yeah.
Welcome to Reservations for Two, the podcast dedicated to your journey towards wellness and self-improvement. I'm Ruth, and in each episode we'll embark on a meaningful conversation exploring strategies, stories and insights that can empower you to lead a happier, healthier and more fulfilling life. So grab a seat and let's dive into this journey of self-discovery together.
Our bodies are vessels that we all have, something that we should love, take care of and nurture. Today I have a reservation with someone who knows all about that, so join me for our conversation. Hi guys, so we are in the gorgeous Ivy Canary Wharf in the Terrace Bar, and I'm sitting with the wonderful Geen today, about to have an amazing conversation. I'm trying. I'm trying. I shouted at my son for the first time yesterday, and it was like,
Hello.
hi.
How are you, madam?
Great, thank you.
We have something for you, madam. Here is our menu. It
Amazing.
comes with drinks. There is our seasonal special. There is our Asian special.
Thank you so much.
Have a look.
Okay,
Ready to stove.
thank you. May I get the Korean glazed chicken, please?
Madam, here you can. One Korean glazed chicken. And for you, madam,
And can I get the lobster watermelon salad, please?
lobster and watermelon salad. Just some meat. Would you like to take any drinks, madam?
May I get the Hugo Spritz, please?
Yeah, sure. And for you, madam,
Can I have the same?
same. Over yes, I'm gonna do it, madam.
Thank you. Hi.
Oh, that chicken.
Madam.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
It does.
What?
Thank you.
Thank you.
At the lobster.
Right.
Just a second.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Not that.
But literally, this one is Evan spray.
Do you know what? I have it. I actually do have it.
Evan spray, the
Yeah,
black
the
one
black
and the
one.
melting spray.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Let's see.
amazing.
Oh. Okay, the bubbles. Chicken looks amazing though.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it actually looks really good.
And do you know what? It feels healthy.
No, it looks.
But I'm sure there's meant to be more to it.
No, I think the moldfish came with rice.
But this just came back to our, I don't even, you know, healthy. Why not?
No.
Protein. Why not? Do you know what? Can I tell you a secret? Another secret. A few years ago, I started doing the I can't remember what you put out, but you said no carbs after 8.
Do you know what?
And that's stuck in, like, you don't understand the way it's stuck into my mind.
The thing with that though, yeah, is like, it's crazy because it's like, it depends because ultimately the rule and thumb is most people aren't active in the evening.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to be active with carbs give you energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not going to be active,
need
you
to
don't
take
need
to burn
you don't need the energy.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a rule of thumb. But if you're someone who is still active at night, let's say
Yeah.
you've got a night shift,
Yeah.
those kind of people,
Yeah.
then it's fine.
Okay.
It's just you just have to make it kind of fit around your lifestyle, if that makes sense.
Fair.
But for like the average person,
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
but yeah, for like the average person
Yeah.
who's just gonna be like, for the average person who's basically gonna be at home,
Yeah.
like, not really be active, and they're gonna be on their
Yeah.
couch watching Love Island
TV.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it's like you don't necessarily need the carbs, you don't need the energy. you don't
Fair
need
enough.
the fuel. So,
I feel like
yeah.
in my head, because you said that, in my head, it's literally been like every single time I go towards carbs, I'll say, I'm like, you're doing yourself wrong, girl. You're doing yourself
No,
dirty.
I mean, it makes like, and
But I'm
obviously-
not. But what you said makes sense because I'm not necessarily in the. So when I do train, it's more so like in the afternoon or the
Yeah.
earlier part of the day.
Yeah.
So, like what you said is right. Carbs give
Yeah.
you energy. So if you're just gonna kind of sit on that energy, ultimately that energy is gonna turn into fat, and you're just gonna be stuck with it.
Also, it's to refuel your muscles. So, like, if you've come back from the gym late
Yeah.
at night,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with you eating carbs after your workout.
Okay.
It's gonna refuel. Do you know what I mean? So if you come back from doing a heavy leg session, it's 10 p.m. Just eat the rice
Really?
because it's energy and it's fuel, right? So it's like if your goal is muscle mass or whatever,
Yeah.
it's gonna basically
gonna
feed your
give you-
muscles. So you just have to make it work within your lifestyle, if that makes sense. If you're
Okay.
a person who's not active,
I'm so glad you said this, you
then
know.
but
Because I've been going out.
doesn't mean that now.
I just gonna be stuffing my face after 8.
Yeah.
I know, but I feel like for the longest time, I was just like, you can't eat carbs after 8. You can't.
No,
Even though, I mean, I failed a couple of times at that, but it's just. But
It's
do you
like
know
a
what?
rule
I
of
feel
thumb for
like
you.
it's like a rule of thumb for me. Like, okay, do you know what? During the later parts of the day, don't try and do too much, especially if like I haven't worked out today, or
Yeah.
if I know I'm not going to work out, or I'm not going to
Yeah.
do much else. Just being able to just like go around your daily life, you're still burning energy.
Yeah.
But to kind of like eat a big bowl of rice
And then go to
bed, babe,
Literally.
babe.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Like what are we doing?
I don't know what more else you want from me.
Yeah. Do you know what? I get it.
Yeah.
Hi guys. So I'm here with the beautiful Gina, and we're here to talk about the body, wellness, wholeness, how they all fuse together. Even in the sense of how you view your body, the way you treat your body, and the impact that that plays on ultimately your well-being and your equilibrium of self. So Gina, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for eating with me,
Thank you for
because we're
having
about
me.
to. No, thank you, the Ivy, for feeding us. But yeah, we're about to dive in, because this looks good and this looks good. But yeah, so before the episode even started, we were speaking about our personal experiences, I guess, with how we view our bodies, and I was sharing that. See, I'm refusing to call myself a gym babe, but Gina has.
I think you can claim it.
She's given me that title
You
because
can actually claim it.
I'm trying.
No,
I'm trying. You know, trying.
No,
I'm trying. You know, and
you're showing up.
I'm showing up.
3 to 5 times a week.
I'm showing up. I'm
That's
showing
not,
up.
That's not trying. That's
I know, but still, you know, when you just don't want to give yourself that, you don't want to give yourself that much boost. But we were speaking about just my experience with, I guess, getting pregnant and the physical changes that I was seeing in my body, and how that kind of gave me it took a negative toll on my mental. Especially when you are someone who you what's the word, like you cater to your body, you try with your body, you nourish your body in the right way, you work out, you train, you show up whether you're feeling sad or hurt or whatever. You just show up because you care that much about your physique. And then when something is happening and it's completely out of your control, and it's taking you from a place of where, you know, you're seeing a 3.5 pack to now it's just a belly, and the world is telling you that you have to be really happy about it, but in your mind you're like, hey God, you know, it can take a toll. And I think just even based on your personal experience that you shared with me, as to kind of your journey with your body, do you want to share? Yeah, do you want to share? So the best question would be, okay, so where did it start?
Okay, so my background, I've always kind of like had issues with like my body, self-image, like growing up. Yeah, so when I was a child, I was overweight.
I never would have thought that.
Yeah, like the thing is, those that know me, like in my truest form, like still can't believe I'm me. Like
I hear that.
My brothers tell me all the time. Like if you told them that I was gonna grow up to be this person, they wouldn't
have believed it.
No,
oh my God.
They were very athletic, and I was like the overweight sister who used to like skip forward my mum's signature, say I can't do it. Like I was not active at all. Like my activity was eating. That was my hobby. Like I love food. I had like a very emotional like connection with
attachment to food.
Yeah. So
do you feel like, I'm so sorry to cut you, do you feel like that was your safe place?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just made you feel good.
The thing is, and the crazy thing is, I don't think it's a habit I've kicked. I think I still have that like relationship with food, but it's because now I make better food choices.
Yeah.
And I understand my body a lot more. So it makes sense. My habit isn't as bad as it was before.
Yeah.
But like through my career and stuff and learning a lot more about nutrition and food,
yeah,
I'm in a much better space mentally.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah, of course.
Do you feel like what you just said, it's because, do you feel like your approach towards your body and how you look after your body is because you are in a better space mentally?
Yeah.
Because ultimately it's what we see, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when we look at the mirror, we see ourselves, and if we're feeling, they always say if you're feeling good on the inside, or if you're looking good on the outside, you ultimately feel better on the inside.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that's true to your journey?
Yep. I feel like because it's a confidence thing. If you start off by not being happy with what you see, and the thing is, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you, because there's loads of people who will look at you and be, oh, you're fine. But if you don't feel confident, if you're not happy, that's going to have an effect. So
That was me.
the moment you start kind of appreciating your body a lot more, you tend to feel better. And then everything else kind of falls into place.
Yeah.
So to be honest, with me, when I first started working out, the crazy thing was it wasn't even about the physical, it was more about the mental.
Fair. How so?
Because like basically I came out of a bad relationship and it was like my form of therapy to be honest. And it was weird. It was weird because like I said, I wasn't someone who came from an active background.
Okay.
So it was so random.
What made you decide that, okay, so breakup happened.
Yeah.
Shout out ex. But breakup happened. Breakup happened. Why did you sign up at the gym?
Do you know what? I say this all the time, and I was like, that's why I feel like I'm actually like living my purpose.
Okay.
And it was God ordained because I had no interest in being. I need the fitness. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just never in my plan.
Do you still not believe it sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah. I do have moments where I'm just like, this is just too funny. I just find it hilarious. Yeah. So it's like
you would have never guessed.
No. So I think what happened was I remember it like. I went through the breakup and I was so depressed. I was down, like so down bad. And I just wanted to leave my house. So I remember it was like in the evening, I was like, you know, I'm going for a run. And again, I'm not a runner. I hate running with everybody in my body, but it was like, I needed to leave my house and I wanted some sort of purpose. I was like, let me go for a run. Bearing in mind, the runs were like 2 minutes long because girl, when I say
been there, done that,
I was unfit. It was like I'd run for 2 minutes and I have to catch my breath.
The
rest of the way.
Yeah.
But like, I found it like therapeutic, and I was just like, this was like my moment to just get away from everybody. If I want to cry, I can cry, and no one's outside my door, no one's in my space, and I'd go in the evening as well. So like, I just run around like my area, and it just became my habit, and I started to like really enjoy how it made me feel.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend who was a personal trainer, and he worked in the gym across the road from my house. So I started going there, and I would just go there to hang out when he was on shift. And he was like, why don't you actually learn how to like train and lift weights and stuff? Because again, it wasn't something that I was familiar with. So he kind of started teaching me the ropes. I was like, oh, I'm actually quite good at this. This is quite fun. And I just started enjoying my like how it made me feel. And it wasn't even about how it made me look, if that makes sense. Like I felt like that was like the byproduct of it, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But it was just mainly me just doing something for myself. And whenever I was working out, I zoned out, if that made sense. It was like my time. So regardless of whatever was happening in the world, I just managed to switch off and like show up for myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I really loved. And then the weight loss or like me getting a nice physique and stuff like that came like secondary. And it wasn't what I really focused on. So it was just mainly more for the mental. And I think that's why I've been able to stay and stick at it for so long as well.
Yeah, because it's done something great for your mental.
Yeah, and it's like now it's part of my everyday routine. So it's like brushing my teeth. It's my form of self-care.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And it's so funny because I think you kind of like when you're growing up, they do say that like working out, it releases dopamine and serotonin and all these feel good hormones in your body. So ultimately you do feel good. You always feel good after a workout, but that doesn't change the fact that life is still happening.
100%.
So when you are in the gym and you've zoned out and then you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, okay, I've sweated a bit and I do feel good. And then you go back to life. How do you then take care of your body outside of that environment? Because not everybody has access to the gym.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the drive, because I think there is a drive that you need to literally leave your house. I always stick by that night. I was saying it's funny. I was saying it to one of my friends last night, because she's recently joined the gym, and I said, "Let me tell you something. The hardest part of going to the gym is showing up.
100%.
Because once you're in that gym, even if it's you do like a 2-second walk on the treadmill, you've done something. You've done more than you have or that you would have done if you were at home. Yeah. But how do you take care of your body and how do you take care of yourself in connection to your mental well-being, in connection to your emotional well-being and your spiritual well-being outside of that environment?
I think discipline is definitely something that has to come into play. I'm quite a disciplined person, to be honest. And I'm very much, once I commit
I feel so bad, sorry. I mean, my feeling, you haven't touched
once I commit to something, I'm gonna
go for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I set myself like really weird goals. So like, okay, this sounds really silly, but like when I was on the treadmill and I'd be running and it was like hard, or let's say it's like the last minute or something, I'd do stuff like, I'd make it so realistic. So I'd be like, okay, cool. If I was dealing with something, so like, for example, the breakup, right?
I feel like I know what you're going to say.
It's really crazy, but like, I'm not even joking. This is how I got through it. So it'd be like the last minute and I would have to like sprint and I'd be really struggling. And I'd be like, okay, Gina, it's only 1 minute. Like if you sprint, you're going to wake up from this nightmare. Like this reality that you're dealing with, this thing that you're dealing with is not real. Yeah. So get to the finish line and then and I knew it was real, but it's like that little thing just allowed me to like keep going. I think you just have to find what drives you. And I guess for me, I realized that I was fueled by like I managed to turn my pain into passion, and I used it to fuel myself. So as cringe as it is, it works.
Yeah.
But
do you know what I do? And it's so funny that you said that, because it's such a mental thing, isn't it? Like, I feel like when you talk about the body and taking care of your body, even how you view your body, it has to start from the mental. Just like what you were saying. So like when you're on that last minute at the treadmill, everything in you is telling you to give up, because it's very much mind over matter. It's really, again, it's probably really, really cringe, but I always tell myself, or like, if you make it to the end, £1,000 going to drop into your account.
No.
If you make it to the end, would you run for your mum? Yes. Like, now that I've had my son, I'm like, whenever I'm running on the treadmill, or whenever like I'm doing something and I'm like, I can't do it anymore, I'm always like, you have to do it for Nathaniel, because you need a drive. 100%. You need an anchor. You need something that's going to allow you to know that it literally is your mind kind of defeating you before your body can even show up. And the thing is, the body does show up. And it's kind of that thing of when you're saying it's a lot of discipline, and you almost have to want it a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And I think also you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to ask yourself if you're really. So I've got this analogy where I'm like, are you committed or are you interested?
Fair.
When you're committed, by any means necessary, rain, snow, sunshine, apocalypse, whatever it is, you're showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're committed.
Yeah.
When you're interested, you flirt with the idea. It sounds nice. Oh, I want to do this today. I'm interested in doing it. But if any hurdle comes across your way, you give up because the commitment isn't there. So I think you need to be really honest with yourself and figure out what stage you're at on your journey. And the goal is always to get to committed. So if you're interested, figure out why you're interested and what can get you to being committed. And once you figure that out and you get to that stage of being committed, you're fine.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You should write that on a t-shirt. No, honestly, I'll copyright it and put it on a t-shirt. Yeah, but in terms of even like, because I feel like the one thing about commitment is that when you're committed to something, it's very much, you kind of approach it with the kind of mindset of do or die. Like, I have to do this. However, life, do you know what I mean? And things happen. And I'm sure in your journey, how long would you say that you've been in this journey for?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years. And one thing that you shared with me earlier is that there's been 2 breakups that have almost fueled you, or that you've used as power. So in your first breakup, and your commitment that you were at your first breakup, and then you hit the second road bump because life, did that knock your commitment?
No.
Or did it shake it?
It didn't, because it was, I'm going to be honest, I guess because they're breakups, it's similar.
Yeah.
So it was like, I've been here before.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's not even just that. Like, I've dealt with, like, I lost a really close friend. We've lost,
Yeah.
So,
we know.
Yeah. So that again, like, that year was like one of the hardest years of my life. So
I'm so sorry. Can I just say, my experience with that loss and your experience with that loss is probably 2 completely different things. Purely because you guys were friends on a personal level, but even in your journey together in the world of what it is.
And fitness.
Yeah.
That's what makes it.
So
it's crazy.
How?
It's crazy. Because
how do you deal?
I don't know. And I have moments where I get annoyed. It's like now, I'm like, how are you not here to witness all the great stuff that's happening?
Yeah.
Like, you were here for all the struggle.
Yeah.
And I'm really annoyed.
Yeah.
That you never got to see me get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it frustrates me so much. But it is what it is. And God's plan and God's timing.
Yeah.
But that year, so I came out of a relationship. And then a couple of months later, she passed away. And a couple of months later, I had like some freak accident and got hit in the face with a bottle and lost my tooth. And it was a lot. So like, it was kind of like, I felt like I was suffocating in life, like literally. And everything was just really getting to me. But then like, I had fitness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, it's
like your anchor.
It's actually my safe space. It's the only place that I go to where I just actually feel in control, because I get to choose like how I want it to go. I'm actually in control. Do you know what I mean? I can manipulate my body based on what I know and what I understand of my body. So it's my thing. So it's like the one thing that I run to whenever
anything is going crazy.
Life gets shaky.
Yeah.
And what happens is, because it's part of my everyday routine now. So like when I first got into it, it was my anchor, right? And then it became work. so it didn't have the same effect. But what I've noticed is whenever I go through anything intense, it gets even stronger.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it becomes even more intense. Like my need to be in that space, my need to want to work on myself. And yes, it is a distraction to a degree. But for me, I'm like, you know what? There's much worse distractions that I could be dealing
There's
with
much
in
worse
life.
vices.
So it's a vice that I'm willing to die on a hill for. Literally.
Lie down on the hill for.
Yeah.
100%. But then also, just even in terms of what you just said, where how you get from step 1 to step 2, and this is how you get from this place to this place. You can't help their mental.
Yeah.
So what in that setting, say if you've taken me on as a client and I'm telling you I want to lose 20 kg. However, even when I've lost that 20 kg, I'm still not happy with what I see in the mirror because outside of fitness, I think the mental and the body should be connected in the sense of you should love yourself. It kind of starts with the basis of self-love and self-appreciation because you only get one body.
Yeah.
And I think when you love your body, when you care for your body, you're then more encouraged to do things to look after it, like fitness, eating better and things like that. But how do you help someone who is doing the physical great, but their mental is still like way back there?
I think one thing I try to do is lead by example. And I'm very transparent and open with my journey and stuff that I do and the stuff that I share on social media.
Yeah.
So I always try to like show people that I'm an average person. I'm
Yeah.
literally the girl next door.
Yeah.
And if
Yes, you are.
And I literally feel like if me, the girl who used to forge her mum's signature, who
Stop it.
like was not active, who hated PE and anything physical, who, do you know what I mean? That person who had no self-confidence whatsoever. And as much as everybody thought I was a confident person, it was kind of like a facade. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if I can pull myself up and get to where I am, I feel like anybody can. Because for me, it was impossible. Like when I was younger, I used to pray to God and ask God to make me lose weight, like as a kid. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
well, he showed up.
He did. But I mean, like, you don't think about those things as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, but that's how much I really hated
what you saw.
Yeah. And it was like, so I'm just giving you context to show like how long I've kind of been on this journey for. But I do talk to a lot of my clients though, and I do try to get them to understand that like this is like I can only tell you what to do. You have to show up for you, and you have to want it enough to show up for yourself. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So find your why. Like I know what my why is, and my why might not be the same as yours. Like this, you're saying your why is Nathaniel. Do you get what I mean? But that's what's keeping you going, and what you kind of fall back on whenever you get to those moments of wanting to give up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just try to always encourage people to like find
reason.
Find your reason and your why, because regardless of what happens, like I said, life is always going to happen. Think you're never going to go down a straight road. The journey is never straight. So whenever you kind of get knocked off your path, as long as you can refer back to your why, it should help you kind of like get back onto the straight and narrow.
Yeah. And just even like talking about outside of fitness, and for example, even one thing that I was thinking about earlier was, how did you cope during COVID?
Oh, do you know what? COVID was like, it was so interesting. And I say this I have to be mindful of me saying this because it was such a bad time for the world.
Yeah.
But career-wise,
it was fantastic.
It was everything. It's what I needed. And I don't want to say that to be dismissive of like
where we was
and what people experienced.
Yeah.
But I needed it.
Do you know what it is? Without you even perhaps telling me the highs that you had during COVID, but for someone like you who I guess is showing the world this determination and this commitment, I think for someone like you were probably the person that people would look at and look up to. Hence why there was probably an influx, would you say?
Yeah.
Because people were looking at you like, okay, well, the gym is, you're literally dealing with the same cars that we're dealt with, but you seem to still be all right in this space. And I think when we're in a period where everyone's mental is probably upside down, you were probably a lot of people's reason.
Yeah. I mean, what I loved was it allowed the world to take their health and well-being
seriously.
So the influx wasn't even just because I was a lot more visible. It was also because it's what the world needed. And I loved the fact that I was able to be like a solution to a lot of people's problems. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it even allowed me to kind of like reevaluate my my career path and what I was doing and how I can help people and like just be a bit more innovative with like my services and stuff. Because originally when gyms closed and stuff, all of us were just like, what are we doing? Because also remember,
That's your work.
We were like the first to close and probably the last to reopen. So even when they opened restaurants, gyms were still closed.
Yeah.
When they opened like shops and businesses and stuff, gyms were still closed.
How did you deal with that, like on a mental level?
I think, again, I just have to get creative and start doing at-home workouts.
But that's what you did. But in the terms of like, because that must, especially for someone that for so many years to the point of COVID was your haven, and then it's now been shut, and you've been told that you can't go there no more. Did it not make you feel sad?
So like originally, I was just like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I did go through a bit of depression because I was just like, I don't know how to do this. But again, for me, I'm someone who, again, exercise is really mental for me. So there was no way I was not gonna like physically move my body and stuff. So it's just a case of like being creative, doing workouts at home, and then encouraging people to do workouts at home. I think what I really love is community.
Yeah.
I'm very, very big on community. So it allowed me to build a community, and I realized that we kind of needed each other.
Yeah.
We all needed to pull together, and it made it a lot easier than just kind of dealing with it on your own.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just speaking of community, if for someone who doesn't have any community, we essentially here, my vision here is to provide that community and that safe space, because not everyone, one thing I realize is not everyone has a sister to call, not everyone has a mom, a brother, a friend. And so especially when you're dealing with your mental health and how you view yourself, especially, not everyone has that person that will give them the necessary affirmation or word of encouragement or advice, guidance that they need. So if someone was dealing with their body issues and their mental, dealing with how they view themselves and life's issues, what is the one thing that you'd say to them?
I think find your tribe.
Yeah.
And the thing is, finding your tribe is not as hard as you think, because there's so many people going through the same things that you are. You just need to let someone know, if that makes sense. Because ultimately, if I don't know that you're going through something, or I wouldn't be able to help, if that makes sense. So it's not even a case of you like telling people your business, but I feel like social media is such an amazing platform, because whilst it does have a few like cons, you can literally find the whole community on there. 100%. And it's just a case of just letting it be known what it is that you're looking for. So even if it's a case of, oh, are there any women who are interested in so-and-so, or girls, where do you go for X, Y, and Z? Like you'll find that there'll be so many people that will be able to help you and will gravitate towards you. And that's like one of the amazing things about like being online, because you can find a sisterhood or a tribe on there that are going through the same things that you're going through, and can help you and assist you throughout your journey.
Can I maybe add to that in saying that even for someone who is dealing with, I guess, a view of self-hate, even speaking goodness over yourself,
100%.
because even fitness is a journey, right? So you weren't at the state that you are now physically 5 years ago, but you were still going. But it also, in order for you to still go, you had to have almost like a pride in yourself, and a pride in, or a love for yourself, because you're showing up because you love yourself. So for someone who is struggling with that and struggling with their body, how they feel, it being disconnected from their mental, could we collectively say that you have to just focus on loving yourself? You have to come to that place of like appreciating who you are, regardless of what you've experienced, regardless of where you're at. And remember, you have the power to change something that you don't like, that you're not happy with. 100%.
But appreciate yourself for where you're at now, because when you get to where you're going, it will just make it a lot more sweeter. As opposed to not appreciate yourself, because then you're always going to be chasing your tail, because you're never going to get to a place of appreciation, because there's no strong like foundation in terms of loving you. So self-love is so important on this journey. And I learned the hard way, I'll be honest. It took me a long while to get there. But once I got there, I was like, it's not that bad.
And it's not, I mean, clearly it's not. So I think that's a good place to end. I think that's a good place to end. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining me and eating with me. We're about to dine and delve into this plate, but thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye.